Welcome everybody to the 38th episode of the Advanced Dungeons and Dynamics 365 Bare Bones Configuration live stream for Dynamics 365 Finance and Operations. And for those of you that just stumbled upon this, even though this is our 38th episode, what we're doing is we're going out and we're configuring Dynamics 365 from the ground up. So we're giving you a step-by-step instruction on how all of this should be configured. Let me fix that up. And this gives you a contiguous way to see all of the steps that are required just to set up a base system. So personally, I think it's a great way to learn dynamics, but I'm a little bit biased. And this is going to be a monumental episode because what we're doing is we're actually finishing off all of the base financial modules. So we've gone through the setting up the legal entity, the ledger. We created the ledger. We created cash and bank management. We configured all the customers and received payments through accounts receivable. And currently we're in accounts payable, and we've created vendors. We've set up the controls. We've received payments. We've created invoices. And this last episode that we're going to do today, we're going to create some workflow approvals. Now, we tried to do this earlier on with the cash and bank management for the bank account reconciliation. We had a small technical issue there, but this time we're going to actually get it to work because I tested it, or hopefully it's going to work. So fingers crossed. Let's work through that. So with that said, what we're going to do is we're going to be in the system and we're going to configure some workflows for AP invoice approvals. Now, there's a more advanced version of the vendor invoice automation, which we won't do today. We're just getting people to see that an invoice came in and then approve it in the system. Now, what we've got here is we've got our Dynamics 365 system. And what we can see is if we go into accounts payable, then we've got all of our vendors set up, all the vendors that we loaded in. We're probably going to work with the Bakers Guild because that's who we've been working with up until now. And then we're going to create a workflow. Now, what we're doing is we're using the bare bones configuration labs that we've configured to step you through these steps. So today we're going to work through as much of this as we can for the vendor approvals. So we're going to start off and we're going to create a vendor invoice approval journal. We're going to then create an AP invoice, and hopefully it's going to go through the approval step. We're going to talk about some tasks in the approvals and then some notifications and then looking at the workflow. So that's what we're going to do. And let's go straight to where we are. So what we want to do is the first step, let me get a coffee, is we're going to create a new workflow for vendor invoice journal approvals. So whenever we create a vendor invoice, then we want to go out and have that approved. And let me sort of work through that. I was actually just going out and looking at the attendees that are on, and I think we've got more attendees than I thought. So for this little burgeoning podcast live stream. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a vendor approval workflow. Now, what we do to do that is we need to go into accounts payable, and we need to go to the accounts payable workflows. So this is an area where we set up all of our workflows. And what we're going to do is we're going to create a new workflow. Now, all of the modules work this way. So it doesn't matter whether you're in cash and bank management, whether you're in projects, or whether you're in accounts payable or anywhere in the system, then what you'll see that there's an accounts payable workflow. Let's see, in accounts receivable, there's accounts receivable workflows, and budgeting if we go into setup, then there are budgeting workflows here, but I digress a little bit as we go through here. So what we want to do is we want to go to the accounts payable workflows. So I can do that through the menu. We can also go out and we can just do a search as well through the menu bar, which is another way that I access it. I don't know the rhyme or reason why I always go to the menu for the accounts, for the workflow links, but that's what I do. So we're going to go and create a new workflow. Now what we've got is where these are all of the template workflows that we can create. So these have already been created for us, and they've already been linked back to the different areas. And and if I could go and create an invoice journal workflow, I could go out and create an invoice workflow. So this is a journal. This would be for purchasing for the vendor invoice workflow. And then there are other approvals that are here that we're not too worried about right now. But there is actually one for vendor invoice line workflow, which is different from the vendor invoice workflow, because what that will do is that will give you line level approval on the invoices when you go out and create the invoices through the purchasing area. But we just want to create a vendor journal invoice. Now, what this is going to do, this is really the only area where there's an add-on or a one-click item that needs to be enabled. And what this is going to do, if this is the first time, what it does is it gets you to log in. Every time it gets you to log in the system. And then it will pull up the designer that we've got here. So this designer is our workflow. Right now it's blank. So we don't have anything occurring here. But what I've got is I've got my elements on the left-hand side of what I can do. So for example, I could have decisions that are associated with this. I could have sub-workflows that are associated with this. But what I want to do is I want to just add a step for the vendor approval. So I'm going to plop that in there. And then I'm going to go from the start to the vendor invoice approval. And then we've got an end here. I'm just going to pull that up to make it a little bit easier to see. And then I'm going to say, after we finish the approval of the vendor invoice, then what we're going to do is we're going to finish it. So we start, we approve the invoice, and then we end. We're not being fancy here with any conditionals based off the dollar amount, but we could do that if we wanted to later on. But I'm just worried. I just want to have sort of like a main workflow. Now, what you'll see down here in the workflow sort of errors, you'll see that there's a number of things that are there are errors, and then there's information that's here. So we need to fix these. And there's a couple of errors. The first one says that there's no one assigned to this. We don't have any instructions for the step, and then the subject for the message isn't showing up. We can go in and we can find these individually, but what I find is I just double click on this and it takes me to the area that I need to fix. So in this case, this is the assignment of the workflow. I'm going to go out and I'm going to say this is based off a user, and then I'm going to assign it to the admin user. Mainly because I don't have any reporting hierarchies or structures defined. I've just got the workers. So I've done just go close, and notice that the error disappears here. So then I can say for the define instructions, I can click on that, and it's going to take me to the, whoops, let's see where that was. That just closed down. Let's try doing that once more. Let's log in. Okay, let's go and do this sort of step by step. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to go to the assignment. I'm going to say that I'm going to assign it to the user. And then also what I can do is I can go through here, and there's some instructions here that are that I know that I need to type in. So for example, this is going to be the workflow subject, assignment. Let's close this. I'm going to try this once more. This is breaking every time. Let's cancel this. So we'll try once more. If this doesn't work, then we may have a bigger problem. So I'm going to click this approve. We'll do this one step at a time. I'm going to save and close this. And then close this here. So let's refresh this. So now what we've got is we've got the vendor invoice workflow here that's been defined. So now that I've saved those changes, let's see if we can go in and make this change. So let's go in and go to the assignment and assign this to the admin user. And I'm going to do this in a very methodical way and now go back into the workflow. So let's see. So that's actually crashing as we go through here. Try something different. So that's actually failing as we go through here. So that's no bueno here. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. So that's sort of that's going to nix sort of this session as we go through. Let's see if we can. So that's okay. So this is a big problem. So what we're going to do is we're going to, I guess we're going to finish this early. I need to work on this and work out why this is giving me this error along the way, because it shouldn't. Yeah. But again, I'm just showing the software. I'm not working through that. And if I can't work through here one more time, then we're just going to stop and we're going to move. We're going to put a fork in it and say it's done, and then move on to the supply chain management, which is unfortunate. I was hoping that we could do this. So let me finish that. Maybe on the next live stream, then we'll have an update for this. But I'm going to close this off, and unfortunately, this one section that we have for the workflow is not cooperating, so there's no point in really continuing on with this. So watch out for the next live stream. What we're going to do is we're going to leave finance, and we're going to move on, and we're going to move to supply chain. So the first thing we're going to do in the next live stream is we're going to go out and we're going to set up products. And we're going to start building some products and setting up all the controls and the management that we have around the products. Then after we've done that, which will probably be a number of live streams, what we're going to do is then we're going to set up the inventory and then continue on with purchasing and also sales and tie everything back to the financials along the way. So it's unfortunate that this was that I wasn't able to get the workflow working. Maybe I can debug this and find out what the problem is. But I'm just going to give up at this point, and we're going to move on to supply chain management in the next episode. If anyone wants to support us, then you can go to patreon.com/ADND365. If you want to see any of these guides, then you can go to ADND365.com/start, and you can browse all of the different bare bones configuration guides we've got in there. So with that said, I'm going to finish this off early and then see if I can work out what the problem is with this. And then all of you have a great rest of the day.